All right, everybody, we are live. This is Drake with the RPG Construct, and we are about to embark on something new here. Have some players here. We're going to be play testing the new Absolute Tabletop supplement called Harbinger. It's basically just a science fantasy role playing game. Think 5th edition in space with guns and things like that. Think like Lovecraftian monsters and things like that. So we're going to try it out tonight. Check out some of the mechanics that we just got this week. Got a couple guys here that I've played with before, a couple that I haven't. So we're just going to introduce them and let them talk a little bit about themselves and their character, and then we'll get started. So first, why don't we start with Jeff?
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff. I run the YouTube channel In Counterbalance. Slowly but surely starting to put more stuff on there, so check it out if you're interested. I'm going to have some games in the near future. That'll be going up there, so it should be some fun stuff. I'm going to be playing Horus Knight. He is a Mancer, which is the spellcasting class, kind of like the wizard sorcerer kind of thing for Harbinger. And he is an astra researcher who looks into biological and just general astra anomalies, and is also addicted to astra magic.
Awesome. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out there. Josh, let's do you next.
Hi all, I'm Josh. I'm playing the Mechanist named Thamos. Tall, muscular build, robotic arm. He's pretty much been a bodyguard for the Seps for the last couple of years. However, he ended up with a gig on the Honey Badger, and that's kind of where he is now.
And what's his thing? What's his specialization?
He specializes in both AI and computers.
Okay. Jake.
Hey, Internet, it's Jake, and I am also known as Mini Terrain Domain, and I am the lesser half of the podcast Something RPG-ish. Even though I have the bigger beard, Drake's got all the charisma. I am going to be playing Dakota Raven. She is a treader with the Reaver specialization. And Dakota she has a noble background. She was actually born into one of the Seps, one of the ruling class organizations on one of the moons. And she, about 5 years ago, left home, much to her parents' chagrin. Her mom all but disavowed her, but her father apparently is looking for her. But while she was in the Sept, she trained with weapons and various things. She is essentially, this treader is kind of like a hybrid of the martial classes from traditional 5e, but I've built her to be more of a dexterity style fighter.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Hankering Fernell.
Hey, greetings, Bioforms. It's Hankering here from Drunken to Dragons on YouTube. And yes, so I have built a mech treader. He's an old model mech, though, so he's more of a trash can with one arm. My angle on the build was I wanted a sort of air conditioning and engine room maintenance bot who was what I call underbuilt, which we've talked about a little bit. So underbuilt is I didn't take a ranged weapon. And for melee, I really just I have on my sheet, I have pipe written down. So he's sort of a found object fighter. But my real concept was to just be a bullet sponge for the group and have this kind of self-sacrificing kind of mentality, kind of like the little floating robots from Black Hole. So that's kind of my angle, is a sort of semi-junked, out-of-date robot whose heart is in the right place. So that's how I wound up on the old Honey Beaver.
Understood. All right, gentlemen. Well, I wish you all luck, and we shall see how this goes. So the four of you are on the same salvage team. You guys have, for lack of a better phrase, stolen the ship from your self-promoted captain, Lou Reeves. Now, Lou has been with you guys since the beginning, but none of you really like him. When your last captain bought it, which tends to be the ongoing thing for you guys, you go through captains like you go through socks. Lou just decided that he was going to self-promote, and he was going to tell you guys what to do. Recently, on one of the moons of Bastion, he decided to go a little bit too far in one of the brothels. You left him in the brothel, passed out drunk. And Jeff, why did you guys leave him? What did you see? What did you notice? How would you describe it?
So it was Horace was on the ship at the time while Lou was out, and he was monitoring this strange kind of astra thing that he had noticed on one of the scanners that he had checked, and the energy levels of the astra in that area didn't really fit in with how astra normally should behave. He knows how it should act. He's very used to working with it. And the astra in that area, this yellow astra that's there, it's not behaving like yellow astra should. And that intrigues him. So he wants to get out there and check it ASAP. And he doesn't actually even realize that we're leaving Lou yet when this is happening. Everyone else just kind of gets on, and they just kind of left.
Okay. So the four of you board this ship and you head out towards this anomaly. It's in the outer edges of the Bastion system. There's really nothing out there except one small moon where you guys had found port. And so we're going to pick up the party as your ship arrives at the anomaly. One moment, guys. Just got to set something here. There we go. And we shall begin.
Yellow Astra anomaly reached. Distance 350 meters. How should I proceed?
Attention crew, despite the unusual nature of our departure, remarkably, despite a 10% probability of total failure without the captain present, we have arrived at the target destination. So I assume we want to drop gravity anchor and take a look-see bout, as you humans are prone to say.
Full stop, Murph.
Not to be difficult, but the probability of failure was only 10.92.
That's my honey. Can I bring the ship to a halt within 200 meters for style's sake?
I would be happy to move the ship within 200 meters of the anomaly.
What a sweetie. I mean, honey.
Do the four of you want to remain here 200 meters away? Or is there some other purpose we have for coming?
Well, Captain Reeves' standard procedure would be to run a scan. Am I correct, Miss Raven?
Captain Reeves wasn't always right, Murph. But, yeah, run a scan.
Scanning. Yellow Astra anomaly. Size 300 square miles. Object detected within anomaly. Distance 10 miles. Object, metallic in nature. Astra interference will not allow further scans.
Horace, this is kind of your show, I think. This Astra stuff. You want to get up here to the cockpit?
Yeah, I'll take a look. You said there was something in there, honey?
Correct. An object has been detected approximately 15 miles within the anomaly.
Honey,
That's
is the
interesting.
object moving?
Scanning. The object seems to be stationary within the anomaly.
Well, a stationary target will certainly be more conducive to an exploratory boarding party, which I'm sure you all intend to execute despite all of my advisement. But I'm curious about the effects of flying the beaver through the anomaly, because there are 15 strange miles between us and our target. Horace, do you have any estimation of what happens when you take a starship into one of these things?
I estimate that you worry way too much. Honey, get the engines going. Let's check this out.
I would be happy to complete that task. At 50% velocity, it will only take 5 minutes to reach the object.
Hey, Murph, should we be running some kind of Astra scrubbers as we're going through this? And do we have Astra scrubbers?
The astrostrubbers were supposed to be replaced in port. They were on order. Captain Lou Reeves said they would be installed tomorrow.
That'd be a negative, Miss Raven. That'd be a rock solid negative. We are going to burn dirty smoke.
Fantastic. Murph, unpack the red shirts for this boarding party.
I've already sewn one with the left sleeve closed for me.
Fantastic.
Hey,
Where's
honey.
Famous?
Hey, honey.
Mhm.
Is
Yes,
there
sir.
any way of running a life form scan? Are we close enough for that?
We would need to be within 500 meters in order to scan for life forms. Currently, the only life forms detected are Dakota Raven, Horus Knight, and Thamus Draconian.
That stings, honey. That stings deep down. It's a simulated sting, but it does sting.
I apologize for any difficulties my statements may have caused you.
Well, Thamus, can you, do we have what do we have for boarding procedures on this vessel? I'm not sure I've ever gone through this procedure. I've been in the air conditioning chamber for the last 9 years. Do we have an umbilical or a grapple cable or a gravity anchor or a large stick?
Last time I checked, the gravity anchor was fully functional should we arrive.
We have several tools at our disposal that are used for salvage operations. Depending on the size of the object within the anomaly, we may use one of those. I would advise a closer look before any decisions are made.
We'll notify you when advisement is desired, honey.
Hey, honey, what was the status of the any weapon systems Captain Reeves may have had installed?
The only operational weapon system are 2 forward phase cannons. I am unsure if the targeting system has been repaired.
As long as the manual controls work, let's just make sure those phase cannons are charged.
Yeah, I'll go down to the hangar bay and check on those cannons and make sure they're fully functional.
And as you guys do this, Honey pushes the ship through this Astra, and you can see just the darkness that is space and the stars that you see. It starts to get this kind of yellow hue. Like if you've ever worn those like those shooting glasses that have the yellow tint to them, that's kind of what space looks like right now. There's some particles that are lighter than others, but it's just this yellow hue. And as you're all in the cockpit on the display screen, you see this object getting closer. And as it gets closer, you can see kind of this Astra kind of parting in front of you, like you're a ship on water. And as it comes into where you guys can really see it, you can see that this is a man-made structure, that this is some type of a station. But Honey will park you approximately, what did we say, 500 yards away?
Yeah, I think it was 500 meters.
Okay. Alrighty, then we will begin there where you guys are approximately 500 meters away.
Seeing as we are now in range, Honey, do you mind doing me the favor of doing a life form scan?
Just give me 1 second, bud. I lost my my Reaper settings. I won't do that again. I just had it. I apologize, guys. Just give me 1 minute. I had it all saved and they went away. There we go. And what did you want to do?
A life form scan, please?
Scanning. Heavy interference aboard object. Object identified. Object is Terran Station Ronin 9, Commercial Research Station, commissioned by the Xenocorp. Last recorded location, low orbit, Bastion Prime. Last recorded transmission, 10 months, 2 days, 4 hours.
I have a funny feeling about ships and stations that have been missing for almost a year, especially ones that orbit the big Bastion. Can we get any more just on a visual? Surely this... Can I get a rag? Maybe I could clean this lens off. Is there anything on the surface of this? Maybe anything crawling? What is that there?
Scanning. The station seems to be in mild disrepair. The transceiver has been removed. Several of the airlocks show some sort of scarring or fire damage. Also, there seems to be a small vessel attached to the far side of the station. It looks to be of Scrug manufacturing.
Guys, this might be our big score, the time that we can finally make our name for ourselves.
There are 2 airlocks available on the opposite side of the station that we could engage our gravity hook and umbilical to allow safe passage should you want to begin the salvage process.
Honey, could you log the ATTS information on this, the average time to Scrug? as being approximately 2 days because we'll want to compare it in future missions.
I will make the log. There are also some strange vent openings on the top side. It seems radiation, black matter radiation, being vented from these tubes. Advise staying away.
Honey, can you tell if the air is breathable?
Scans incomplete. Radiation interfering with scans. Perhaps an upgrade would make it easier next time.
Can I do?
We'll get the next captain on that.
Can I possibly do like a tech check to possibly like Jimmy rig the system to kind of boost or enhance the AI system? Perfect. Yeah, no, that's 10.
Sensors are at full capacity. No further scans will be available. Perhaps a portable scanner taken onto Terran Station Ronin 9 could give more complete data.
Hey, Murph, why don't you work with Honey and move us into position, get us lined up with the airlock, and take care of the docking procedures. I suggest the rest of us make sure weapons are charged, loaded, sharpened, and ready to go. If there's a scrug ship there, we're looking at possible and likely contact.
Can I, on attempting this maneuver at Miss Raven's behest, can I do a sort of a bump park on the scrug vessel? Sort of a croquet mallet style parking job?
There would not be anywhere to anchor by the scrug vessel. Also, contact with scrugs is deemed very dangerous. Would recommend docking procedures at other end of Terran Station Ronin 9.
All right, well, let's not get too crazy too soon since we've had such a short ATTS. Can I go ahead and attempt the astrogation and pull into position?
I will allow manual control. Murph, the ship is under your control.
All right, well, I'll use my big arm for your sake. Oh, didn't even need the advantage, got 19 on the first roll. Woo! I'm a free bird, yeah. There goes the scrug vessel. I wanted to ram you, but I'll save it for another day. Let's get that umbilicus out.
Umbilical extended. 10 meters, 5 meters, 2 meters. Umbilical engaged. Pressurizing. Pressure seal holding. It should now be safe to go through.
Mr. Knight, is this what you came looking for? Because I've never seen an exhaust system malfunctioning quite to that extent before.
Can't say that that's what brought me here in the first place, but it's certainly what I'm here for now.
Then please make sure to come back. With the ship on manual control, I cannot pilot it out. I would like to not be left in space again.
We won't
Told you
forget
that was
you,
an
honey.
accident, honey. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to leave you like that.
Yes, that is what you said. I believe you wanted to change the voice of the heuristic onboard neural intelligence. Let's not attempt that again.
I wanted it to sound like my dream band I've been trying to put together, Murph and the Zectones. But the whole thing did not work out that well, and just don't hold it against me because grudges are not supposed to be in your programming. So let's lock and load and walk down the tube.
We can do that.
Right before we enter, he'd walk back to his room and grab his knapsack and stuff all of his spheroids in there, preparing to board the ship.
Yeah, you guys are going to, each of you is going to have your own kind of, Evo suit. You're kind of, this is a suit that is going to protect you from any, any radiation, biohazard, bacteria, things like that. This is what you would normally use on a salvage mission. You can sometimes get into things that could really hurt you. So these suits are made for that. Each of them is a little bit customized for you. You kind of make it your own, but you've all seen what the standard size is. The only one who does not need that is Murph, as he is a big coffee maker with arms. So you will absolutely be able to go down there, and we will hold in place with the umbilical now attached to the airlock. What would the four of you like to do?
As Dakota pulls on her Evo suit, you can see that it's more or less like the standard issue Evo suit, though she has apparently spray painted the top half in black and the lower half in a kind of techno camo. And on the back, she has the emblem of a silhouette of a Scrug head, and it just says Scrugs and Kisses on the back of her Evo suit. As she pulls it on, she slips her scimitar into its scabbard on her back. She checks the magazine on her pistol and slides that into its holster. Not as many rounds as she would like to have, but it'll have to do.
Okay, what about the rest of you?
Yeah, and Horace is he's putting on his suit, kind of getting ready. Uh, just a small pistol, and it's more of he has like it's basically just like a work knife that he, in worst case scenarios, uses as a weapon if needed be. But his suit itself actually has like cloth that's been like not sewn in because the suits are like metal almost, but like put over basically like a tabard like a knight would wear, but over this spacesuit. It has all these strange symbols going down either side of it that he's never told anyone what it means, except that it's some cultural thing that's run in his family for a while that he likes to keep on.
Okay. What about you, Josh?
As Thamus starts to put on his Evo suit, he kind of looks over at Dakota, just making sure that she's perfectly fine, kind of cracking his head a little bit here and there, putting on his helmet as he straps in his katana to his side and tosses over his scatter gun onto his back, preparing for the worst, but kind of keeping an eye on everything as everything happens. His Evo suit is this really weird royal blue color that looks like it's been aged for a little too long.
Okay. And finally, Murph. What would Murph be doing? Anything special, or would he just be headed down?
Normally, during bioform dressing periods, I proceed with the mission despite my reduced agility. So down the tube I go, and I'll use my welding shield and airlock rotary wrench arm to commence boarding procedures and hopefully absorb any munitions that may emerge from this station before the more fragile bioforms arrive.
So you want to go all the way to the airlock and attempt to open the door, correct?
That's right.
Okay, give me
I'm not programmed for hesitation or fear.
Well, then there is a pad that looks like you just need to push on it. Okay. I need you to make me a dexterity save, please.
I'm terrible on those. Just a +2 on this roll. 18 up. That's a modified 20.
You hit this pad, but one thing you didn't see is you're not programmed with fear or anything except for just go straight ahead. You didn't see the red wire that just was very out of place going across the front part of that door into the pad. And as you hit it, the airlock opens and you actually kind of get sucked in with the air pressure. And that's a lucky thing, because as you do, you hear and some type of a charge or explosion happens outside of the airlock, and it blows a hole in the umbilical, and it actually forces the ship. It actually shakes the ship, and all of you hear this and you feel this jolt, and what the heck is going on? And you peer down this hole and you see all the pressure gone. You see Murph hanging like onto the bar of this airlock. Because he made that dexterity check, he did not get pulled into the vacuum of space. But all of you would need to be very careful going down this umbilical. It's not completely destroyed, but half of it is missing now.
Have I absorbed any structural damage from the blast?
I was about to do that for you. Thanks for the reminder.
I have served my primary function.
Damn it, Murph. We weren't ready for that.
Since you made the save, you're only going to take 8 bludgeoning damage.
What's the gravity situation look like in the tube with the hole blown in it? Is the gravity blown?
Explosion detected. Gravity and pressure are void. Recommend activating magnetic boots on Evo suit for successful entrance into Terran Station Ronin 9.
So I think each of you would need to know that. I'm sure if you took your time and you actually stepped carefully onto the umbilical that is left, you would do fine. I'm only going to ask each of you to make one roll once you get to that explosion place. So if you could all make a roll for me, if you're trying to go to where Murph is, or if Murph has anything to say to you, because you can all communicate through your comm system, so you can all speak to each other.
The entrance is ready.
How's it hanging, Murph?
By one arm, as it should. I serve my primary function. The station is ready to board.
Does Murph look like he's in danger of floating away if he lets go?
Yes, absolutely. He absolutely looks like he's just dangling. Half of him is out of the umbilical, like into space. But as he's an android, it doesn't matter. But if he lets go, he would absolutely float into space.
But the airlock opening is clear now.
It is clear, but the inner door into the station is not opened yet.
Right, but there's an antechamber, the actual airlock itself. How
Correct.
big is the opening?
I'd say probably, let's go 8 by 8. It's decent size.
And Thamos is a big guy, right?
Yeah, he's pretty decent. Pretty decent size from what I understand.
He's 6'3", 225 pounds to be exact.
It's bigger than Dakota's 5'6". Hey, Thamos, I want to try something.
Yes, Miss Dakota. How can I help?
I do not want to lose Murph. I want to let's get close, and then I want to kind of see if I can use gravity to the advantage, and I want to push off of you, and I want you to throw me toward the airlock opening, and I'm going to grab Murph on the way by.
Are you sure this is of the safest caliber?
Oh no, it's absolutely not the safest thing to do, but it's probably the best chance to grab him before he vents out into space.
Miss
And I would like to.
Your plan is wrought with peril. Success rate less than 50%.
Thanks, honey. All right, let's do this, Thamos.
Give me a dex. Just give me a. Actually, you know what? Give me an acrobatics roll for Dakota.
Did you want me to do a strength one, seeing as he wants me to throw him?
Let's see if he fails first.
Would it be helping if he is throwing me?
It doesn't really have gravity. So actually, I think him helping you would probably hurt you a little bit because it wouldn't be just the direction you want. So let's just go with your roll first and see what you get.
14.
I had the DC as a 12, so you're going to be able to make that. So what does that look like, Jake?
So I picture it that she just kind of grabs up at the top part of the umbilical and puts her feet up against Thamos so that she can kind of crouch against him and he can push her toward Murph. And as she's flying toward the opening, she's just going to reach out and grab Murph. And it's up to him if he lets go. But the plan is to kind of pivot on Murph into the airlock opening so that if he lets go, I can just pull him into the opening with me and activate my mag boots.
And Murph, what would you do there?
I'll definitely release, and as we fly forward, thank you, Miss Raven. Surely this moment will have context in the future development of our mechanical and bioform relationship.
Absolutely. That's a real nice way of him saying, I think you're cute. I'm just putting that out there. So Horus and Thamos, what do you guys want to do? They're Dakota just grabbed Murph. They're in the antechamber there. The boots have been activated, so she's kind of stuck in there. They're good. What would you two like to do?
I think as soon as Dakota pushes off of me, I would be running after her just to make sure that she was safe.
Okay.
Getting to the opening and just eyeing them as they kind of float through the air.
All right, give me a dex check, please. I just need a 12 to make it.
That's gonna be a 9.
Okay. You get almost to the end, and as you kind of jump, for some reason, you just gauge it wrong, and you partially extend out of this umbilical. I need you to make one more dex save for me.
All my lucky dice are going against me here.
That happens.
That's actually gonna literally barely hit. It's a 12 altogether.
Okay, so you are just like Murph, except instead of grabbing onto this airlock, when you're going out into space, you get one little finger on the edge of this like umbilical boarding system. You're basically 90% of you is hanging in space right now. You're just holding on to this one thing, and out of the corner of your eye, your what is called peripheral vision. You notice that yellow look, that yellow astra that's been around, but you notice it almost like it's coalesced in some type of a puddle or something on right near the umbilical. There are two kind of puddles of this astra looking goo. And they seem to be coming at you slowly, kind of working their way over to you. What would you guys like to do with him hanging out there?
Horace, I think you have the best vantage point on Thamos as he's struggling.
Yeah, so Horace just kind of watching Thamos, almost just with no reaction on his face, just nonchalantly just flicks a switch on his suit to turn on his grav boots and just starts walking down what's left of this thing. hoping to basically just try to scoop him up on the way.
Give me a dex check.
That is a 21.
Okay, then with something that high, I'll let you go by, no problem, through the umbilical. And if you'd like, you can even grab him on the way out. But it's going to take you another little bit to pull him in and then go in. So, and he pulls you in, Thamos, just as one of these strange kind of pools of yellow astra is right by one of your feet. And as you move, you see that this kind of goop almost looked like it was forming a little bit of a hand or something to grab you. But all of you are now successfully in the antechamber. And from there, what would you guys like to do? You see a panel, which looks like you would, and there's a panel behind you for the airlock. So what would you guys like to do from in there?
I'm going to use the edge of my kind of a cloth portion of my sleeve to wipe off Murph's eye, his eye lens, and then I'm going to kind of crouch down and look in his eye lens and say, "Hey, buddy, just making sure you can see all right. Do you want to maybe scan this doorway before trying to open it?"
Life form detected. Approximately 5 meters from your current position. There are 3 life forms. Unable to determine type.
Honey, I thought we agreed that you wouldn't monitor our conversations.
In times of danger, my primary function is the survival of my crew.
Well, thanks, Miss Raven. I see one big button again, and I'm ready to press it. That was a pretty smooth boarding procedure as far as the last 11 years of context goes. So if everybody cares to grab on to each other's belt loops, the old-fashioned way, the Western way, I recommend we press the button and enter, despite the presence of what are 97% likelihood of being Scrugs. I don't know how to use prepositions when I'm speaking in Mecha talk. They make no sense. The sentences are all run-ons. So I pardon my terrible Mecha grammar.
So I have to ask, because I don't want you all to die, you may want to close the door behind you, at least attempt to.
As Thamos gets pulled back in, kind of feeling that surge of Astra in his feet, he kind of like looks back at it, seeing this weird coagulation of the yellow Astra, kind of nervous and very awed at it. He'd come in and probably go up to this computer system and try to both close the hatch to the honey beaver and then open the hatch to the unknown ship.
And you being with technology, it's not really a difficult thing. You can absolutely close it. It takes a couple jerks in order to get it closed and sealed. But the odd thing is when you get the outer hatch closed, it does have a small kind of opening to see outside. And as you hear for it to close, you see that whatever that was outside covering that kind of porthole, and all you see is this kind of viscous yellow thing on the outside. And you can absolutely open into the initial thing from there. And as that door, it goes about halfway, and you hear like, and then it kind of and swings open. And inside, it's basically completely dark except for the panel lights that would be on any type of panel for any, like anything you need to do on the ship. It looks like you're going into some type of a cargo area. There is no gravity in this room right now. There are crates floating. There are barrels floating. You even see one or two, it looks like mummified corpses wearing lab coats. You also see at the far end a kind of spinning orangish yellow light. All of you know that this is a radiation alarm. All of you being in salvage would know what this is. And when that light is spinning, that's telling you that it is unsafe due to radiation levels. And finally, the only other thing that you see is several more of those kind of coalesce pools of yellow astra, just assorted. This room is probably 50 feet long, 20 feet high, and probably another 30 feet wide. So it's a pretty vast space. And you see on the far end just a metal door. This is all, think Star Trek, cargo hold, just metal and grays and blacks, and things like that. And of course, it's completely silent.
I'm visually scanning around, looking for any sign of these life forms that were detected.
Same.
And you actually, just so you know, your shipboard AI is actually kind of built into you guys. She said to take the portable scanner, which is pretty much her. So I'm going to assume that one of you guys has it on you, and you can absolutely ask her for that. So what would you say, Jake? What was your question?
I was just scanning for the life forms that were detected when the door was closed.
Scanning. Radiation interference still very high. Life forms remain at present location. No movement detected.
As Thamos walks into this area, he's looking around, and when she says that the life forms are still there, but nothing is able to be seen, nothing is being heard, he finds it very odd looking up to the ceiling, looking down at the floor, like, where are these life forms? Asking Honey, could these life forms be the mummies, or are they living, breathing life forms?
No known DNA sequences found. Life form not in current database.
Well, Mr. Knight, do you have any experience with coagulating astra causing this kind of scanner interference? Are we dealing with some kind of new life form? If so, it's quite exciting.
Quite exciting indeed. And as Murph is saying this, Horace had actually already just begun to walk, the gravity boots slowly kind of pulling off and then slamming back into the ground, thunking as he walks towards one of these pools of Astra. And he's basically just trying to get up close to it and see if there's anything like kind of unnatural about it.
Sure. Why don't you give me an Astra check, please? Oh, good. I had the sound of the Reaper off. Okay, good.
I'm pretty sure this is what
That
Kane did.
is a 25 Astra check.
I'm sorry. What was that, Hank?
Oh, I said, I'm pretty sure this is what Kane did in Alien. Is he? I'm pretty curious about a blob of yellow stuff. Just a brief meta moment. Sorry.
And as you get down there, Horace, you get really close, and I imagine you like stick your hand out and you almost poke it, like you put your little pinky in there, and when you do, almost faster than you realize, it's and this thing actually starts to encompass your hand, and then the other pools that are probably 5 feet away actually very quickly, faster than you thought anything could happen, all of them kind of coagulate together, and this mass of what looks like yellow astra looks like it is some type of a sentient creature. And I need all of you to roll initiative. And if somebody, once everybody rolls, could put it in the chat for me. All right, so we're going to go Dakota, this creature, Thamos, okay, Murph, and Horace. So, Jake, you see this, you see him kind of bend down and put his finger towards this thing. And this is probably, we're looking at probably, I don't know, once everything gets together, probably think like 4 or 5 basketballs is about the size of it. It's not huge, but all of it kind of coalesced together, and it's just kind of sparkling in this. You don't see any eyes, you don't see any appendages. It looks just, but it seems to be growing and going further up on Horace's arm. So, Jake, what would Dakota do?
You'll hear a metallic shing and ring as she pulls out her scimitar from the scabbard on her back, and she begins as quickly as she can across the deck toward Horace and the yellow astra. And as she's drawing back, just kind of like this, she says, "Yes or no, Horace?"
And he kind of sees her coming towards, just scimitar drawn, and it just sees her eyes just locked down on his arm.
No, not your arm. I'm not going to cut off your arm if I can help it.
Yeah, I'm kind of attached to this arm, so if it could stay that way, I'd prefer that.
And why don't you roll to hit for me, Jake?
Yeah, I'm going to take kind of instead of slicing down, I'm going to kind of come in a way that's going to be cutting into this blob away from his arm,
Okay.
so that I'm not obviously swinging toward him. So that is a plus. That's a 15 to hit.
That's going to hit. So tell me what that looks like.
So as she there's a second where she kind of rotates through a couple of moves and then moves parallel to his arm, slicing her scimitar into this blob. Does it meet any kind of resistance? Does it react?
When you do this, you connect, and it almost, because about half of this blob has actually gone kind of like moved up from the bottom. So you're almost slicing this thing in half, and you meet very little resistance. It's like cutting through Jello. And as you do that, the part that is attached to Horace's arm actually releases Horace's arm, and the force of your blow actually knocks it several feet away. But you see now, instead of one large blob, there are 2 smaller blobs. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like your sword, your scimitar, did anything to this creature, except make it 2 creatures.
I have another attack.
Okay, go ahead.
As a reaver, or rather as a treader, she gets 2 attacks. And she's a dual wielder. So I think what she's going to do is, for her second attack, is she's going to try to shoot it.
Okay.
And
Roll to hit.
quickly draws that handgun and takes a shot for, good Lord, 9. Shooting at
That
one of
does
the
not hit.
blobs.
That does not hit.
Dang it.
So
As
I
the
just say-
bullet goes ping, ping, in her head, she hears ching, ching, as one
And make
bullet was just wasted.
I was going to say, make sure you do your bullet. All right. So
Yep.
the next is going to be this creature. And Jake, seeing this, both of the creature that was cut in half and is now several feet away from Horus, it is going to kind of build up that kind of, pseudo foot thing again. Think like a snail or something, just a big thing on there. And it is going to reach out again, and it is going to try to grab Horus. But Horus, this thing just misjudges how far you are away, and it goes to grabs you, and it just barely misses. Next is going to be Thamos.
Seeing as this yellow blob becomes 2, realizing that trying to slash it is only going to make things worse, he'd use one of his targeting spheroids to send over to Murph of all of our party to see if maybe the targeting spheroid can kind of help create some sort of weakness in this creature.
Okay, and tell everybody what the spheroid does, what the targeting spheroid does.
Targeting spheroid provides an infusion of astra energy to increase the physical physical abilities. Pretty much, he rolls 1d8 and adds that to a single attack roll to boost his attack.
Sweet. Okay. So is that the only thing you can do on your turn?
That would be my action, yes.
Okay. So do you want to describe what this little spheroid looks like as it goes over to Murph? Like, describe it for us.
So as this all happens, he reaches into his little satchel that he has on his side, pulling out this oddly shaped, kind of almost circular on the bottom, but triangular on the top, kind of like squeezing it a little bit as it starts to glow with this blue, kind of like looking like a flame, kind of tossing it up into the air as it flies over to Murph. Probably yelling, Murph, try to figure out a weakness here.
Okay. Now, is it going to fly with him, or is it going to land on him, Murph?
I'd probably say it would kind of hover, kind of like in Star Wars when he was training
Gotcha.
the little round spheroid thing.
Awesome. Cool. All right, Murph, you're up, Hank. What do you want to do? You have a little spheroid that's helping you out. You got 2 little Astra things going on. What would you like to do?
Well, over the comm link, I'd first like to announce the best way to eliminate bioforms is generally to flush them into space. But in the meantime, I'll try to at least increase the distance between the threat and the crew. Whoa, I just turned into Cosby for some reason. It's really weird being a robot. You say strange things. Okay, so I'm going to try to take Thamos's cue. Use the 1d8 is on my to hit roll, correct?
Yes, it's on your attack
So
roll.
I'm going to go head down. Well, I don't really have a head. I'm just a sort of a cylinder with a lens on it. But I'm going to go top of the cylinder toward the jelly, and then push with the magnet boots to sort of create a kind of like a piston in an engine. So
Okay.
using the top of the cylinder, try to push the jello away from the bioforms, hoping that that either Horus or even Dakota might take the cue to open the airlock back up and grab onto something. But at least in the meantime, I can increase the distance so this thing doesn't crawl up Horus's arm again. That goes against everything I believe in, if I could believe in things.
All right, why don't you roll for me then?
Okay. So with the to hit and the D8, oh, not so good. 11 total with the whole deal. Ugh.
Unfortunately, you just misjudge it, and you do go down with your head, but you just wind up kind of just scraping the ground with it, man. So why don't you describe
like
what
a
that looks like?
2010 Space Odyssey that just got doodle-a-doo, doo-doo, doodle-a-doo.
Okay. I think you get 2 attacks as a treader, no? Or no? Did you not go Reaver?
Well, I underbuilt, and 2 attacks just didn't feel right for me. It just
Gotcha.
it feels too awesome, and I think if I don't have it, I think it makes Dakota and Thamos even cooler. So I was just
Agreed.
going to kind of bow away from the 2 attacks.
Gotcha. Okay. Horus, you are just about a foot from this one in front of you and probably 4 feet from the one to your left. What would you like to do?
So Horace just seeing Murph basically try to like football tackle this thing and just end up basically just running his head into something. Just kind of shakes his head, just somehow finding a moment in the battle to become disappointed for a moment before he kind of steps off to the side so we can kind of try to get all of these things more or less in the same area in front of him.
Okay.
And as he does so, both of his arms begin to kind of lines kind of go up either arms, almost like circuits in his suit that are glowing with this red light, just kind of pulsing. And as it does, some like leftover yellow astra that may have been there from the creature kind of burns off from his arm, and he just puts his hands together almost in front of him, and this glow kind of comes up from just rushing up between his arms, gathering between them. And as he holds his hands out, this cone of red energy just bursts out in front of him, just almost like turning on a flashlight of fiery death as this light just bursts out in a cone. So
That's
these
awesome.
things are going to need to make dexterity saving throws.
Okay. What's your DC?
15?
Was that a question?
Maybe. 15.
Okay.
Final answer.
Okay. You have one that made the check, and the other one was a critical fail. So roll for damage for me. It's the Astra version of Burning Hands, right? Apparently, Jeff put his dice way far away.
Okay, so it's plasma beam, but I'm boosting the crap out of it.
Okay.
That is 34 fire damage
To the one that failed.
to the one that failed, and half to the one that succeeded.
Okay, so you vaporize the one on the left. He critically failed. He literally couldn't take the heat. And the other one, you see it, you've kind of just caused 3/4 of him to evaporate. He's just not, he's still there, but there's just not much of him left. But I said the other one is just, you just see kind of that yellow astro like residue on this cold metal floor, and that's it. Next is going to be Dakota.
So is there just the one left?
Yeah, the one left, probably about the size of a soccer ball right now.
So as Horus blasts this thing with just this blasting, this surge of red astra, Dakota, you see her moving in toward this other yellow blob, and she does this motion with her sword, her scimitar, where she does a twist, and it looks almost like gathering up tendrils of what's it called? Cotton candy. These wisps of red astra, and she actually, it seems to kind of wend its way around the blade, and then she just kind of goes, and it just surges and begins to glow with this red astra. And that's a feature of the Reaver. As a bonus action, I'm imbuing my scimitar with red astra energy for a damage boost, turning it into a sort of vibro blade with red astra. And I'm going to after she finishes this swirl, I'm going to try to bring it down in at least 1, but 2 strokes if necessary.
Okay. Rolled hit.
21 to hit,
That hits.
which would be 7, 9, 16 points of damage total.
So describe what this looks like when you destroy this little thing.
So I think as with this Astra boost, as she kind of does this twirl and brings it down, as it cuts through and you hear the clang of steel on steel as her sword passes through to the floor, there's just this sizzle as the red Astra just seems to kind of burn away this yellow Astra blob. And just as an aside, this effect, this damage bonus lasts for 1 hour on her sword, and I gain 1 Astrafade from that.
Okay. Awesome. How many Astrafade did you gain from that one, Jeff, because you boosted it? Okay. Okay. So there's nothing really left of these things but kind of residual residue. Murph, I would assume you would pick yourself up off the ground. And now it seems to be that the cargo area is now clear of these life forms.
You all right there, Murph?
I'll keep, if I imagine myself as sort of going into a 0G missile mode, like an old like garbage can missile from Robotech. And I will let that drift continue and let the microgravity spin that is inevitable just kind of take me, and go ahead and drift across the cargo bay and see if I can take in the details of the space. Is there a portal that I could lead my allies to, or any other perils, or basically can I survey the room while I doodle-a-doo?
Sure, absolutely. You see several, like I said, just several floating large crates, probably 4 foot by 4 foot, kind of stacked on each other. As I said, you see what really look like kind of mummified, frozen bodies. They look human, but they have white lab coats on. But again, they're just floating up kind of towards the ceiling. All of this, that force that was just created by Dakota and by Horus, actually that force kind of shot everything to each wall. So things are kind of moving around quickly in front of you. You do see what looks to be an exit of the cargo at the far end of the room. Just two doors kind of meeting in the middle. And you can see that the control pad to the right of it looks to have power as you see blinking lights.
Can I sort of extend my one arm, whose arguable mass is almost comparable to my torso, extend it in a judicious fashion as to slightly alter my trajectory as I'm turning through the zero gravity, and try to guide myself toward this control panel? I know that bioforms prefer gravity environments, so maybe I could assist with that situation.
I will absolutely allow that because it's a great visual. So you can absolutely steer yourself over to this control pad. Now, do you want to hit the button or do you just want to wait?
I always hit the button.
You always hit the button. I'll keep that in mind.
Not really a high calculation machine, more of an action initiative type program.
All right. While you guys see him kind of flipping around and he's obviously heading towards the door, what would the other three of you be doing, or saying, or what would you like to do?
Honey, can you scan these crates for any high, what's the word I'm looking for precious metals or ammunition or anything else, and catalog it so we can grab these on the way out?
Scanning. All crates within this area contain rations, empty barrels, and food rations. Life 10 years, quantity 724.
Catalog it. We'll grab it on the way out.
No problem.
And as we're kind of going through this cargo bay, Dakota and perhaps Thamos would notice that one of Horus's hands is still glowing with red energy. He's kind of let it linger for a little bit. He's just kind of looks at it for a moment before it just kind of wisps out in this small display of light. And as he walks down the hallway, the first thing that he kind of catches onto are these bodies with these lab coats on. He's actually going to try to almost like pat down the lab coat and see if there's anything of note, anything that they've kept on them, like ID cards or any sort of keys or anything like that.
You can absolutely grab one of them. One of them's floating a little too high, but the other one you can kind of grab and pull down in the zero gravity. And you see on his lab coat, you see a card, which you can only assume is his. His face just is all mummified at this point. And it says Dr. Terrence Phillips, Genetics. He does have a card that you can pull off. He does have some coins in his pocket, say 3 gold coins for all intents and purposes. And he has 3 pens and 1 pencil in his other pocket.
And Horus kind of snaps the ID card off of his coat and kind of stows it away. And he just basically, as he pulls the ID card out, basically just rips the coins out with it, but he doesn't actually grab them. He basically just lets them float off into the 0G of the gravity chamber. If anyone else cares about them, they're welcome to them. But he's not interested.
Okay. Dakota and Thamos.
I think I would see the other one floating a little too high and try to release my mag boots and kind of like jump a little bit as he floats, trying to grab onto the other lab coat and try to pull him down as he activates his mag boots as soon as he grabs it to pull it down, so that way he can actually look through his lab coat at the other mummified corpse's lab coat.
Sure. The other corpse, you can do that. The other corpse looks to have been a blonde female. Her lab coat says Dr. Rebecca Harris. She too has that, that badge on her. There's really nothing except a thing of lipstick in her pocket, besides the ID badge. But you do notice something very odd on her, that her chest, it looks like she had some type of a gash or something. It looks like something like a sword or something made a foot long, just gaping hole in her chest. And finally, Dakota.
I think Dakota would, while they're kind of doing this stuff, and after hearing the scans on the crates, she would maybe just move a couple of them that are floating around, just kind of push them toward the airlock side of the room, so that they'll be easier to grab on the way out.
Okay. And with that, Murph, you would get to the door. And you are hitting that button. And it looks like the atmosphere, as these doors, again, it takes a moment for them to open. The first try always seems to get stuck. But then eventually it does open. And it looks like the pressure is equal on both sides. It doesn't look that bad, just a little rush of air, but then everything kind of equalizes. And it looks like it opens up into a small corridor. And at the end of the corridor, you see a bunch of it. From this distance, it just looks like silver spinning, just pieces of silver spinning and silver pipes and, flashes, that you still see those radiation alarms going off. But you see the reflections of every little light. It's like a bunch of different disco balls, but it's probably about 100 feet down the way. And you can only go in one direction. Murph.
Wow. Okay, so the panel was just a door open panel.
Correct.
We still haven't restored full atmo or full gravity.
Correct. You're just in basically a cargo bay at this point.
Well, there's only one good way to slip on down a corridor, and that's in zero gravity like a missile.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and grab the door jamb and set trajectory for the far end and be the pain sponge down this corridor.
And as you do that, you can absolutely do that, and you make it all the way down, but about halfway down, you do notice that there seems to be kind of a, in the mall when you have this is where you are now, and there's a little map that kind of shows the area. You see that the room that seems to be in the direction that you're heading is the mess hall. You see also the level above, it says labs, LABS. The level below, it says engineering/mechanical. And 5 or 6 levels above it, you can just see where it says where it says living quarters, and then at the very top, command deck. So if you look at it like a tower, it looks like each deck kind of is assigned something different.
Is there any indication of the route to reach engineering?
Absolutely. It basically just shows you next to the mess hall that there are 3 lifts, and there is 1 set of stairs, and that engineering would be down. Looks like 2 levels from where you are now.
Attention, crewmates! I've located the info panel, which is sort of a ship's map, and it looks like we're within 1 deck of engineering. That is definitely my area of specialty. Perhaps we can get the power systems back online before we're swarmed with 3-eyed gorilla men. It's just a suggestion. For now, I will hold the far end of the disco corridor until your arrival.
And what would the rest of you like to do while he's going down the disco corridor?
I turn to Thamos, kind of heading toward that door, and I look over at Thamos and I go, "Did he say disco corridor?"
I don't know if the disco era actually ever occurred on Bastion, but
Oh, I think we're in the disco era.
If we weren't before, we are now.
And Jeff, would you be doing anything, or would you just kind of be following him?
Yeah, Horace is just kind of following down, going along with them.
Okay. And Murph, as you get to the end and this corridor kind of opens up into a rather large mess hall, what you realize once you get in there that all of this spinning and kind of moving around, these are the chairs and the tables and the silverware and the plates just everywhere. Without the gravity, all of these kind of shiny objects are just crisscrossing, and every little light is reflecting. There doesn't seem to be anything nailed down in this place. You see along the side where it looks to be some type of cooling areas, cabinets where they probably have food and stuff like that. But as you go through, you're basically running into these tables and chairs and utensils and yeah, that's kind of what you're in right now.
well, if it doesn't incur too much of a delay for my crewmates, I mean, if I can do it without like taking up a turn or two or whatever, it could be good to just go on down to engineering and try to restore power before everybody drifts around some more and we have another zero gravity encounter. But I don't know. I'm up to suggestions at this point. I'm not familiar with zero gravity. It's not within my normal programming.
Yeah, you guys tell me what you want to do, and I'll say what you got to do to make that happen. So you guys come up with it.
I think Thamos would go up to the computer console and try to pull up any records from the last time there was any life forms on the ship to see if there was any sort of logs or like any audio logs to kind of say anything about what might have happened.
The only panel you have right now is kind of a location panel. At this particular one, that it kind of just tells you where everything is. This isn't one that you can access the main kind of computer database yet. It does not look like the computer itself is online.
Can I tell if all power is down and just basic like door power is on, or is it kind of like dark?
You can't, but I bet you if you asked Honey, she could.
Honey, can you run a scan of this ship and see what are power levels?
Terran Station, Ronin 9, is on minimal power. Life support, offline. Engines, offline. Gravity, offline.
Thank you, honey.
Any other questions, guys? Do you want Murph to go down to engineering? Hey, in the chat,
Even
hey, ask a specific question. You'll get a specific answer.
even in space, splitting the party seems like a bad idea.
I agree with that, but if we are going to split, I think I'll go with Murph just because Murph tends to screw things up and I'm better with computers.
If by
Whatever you
screw
think.
things up you mean get things done, then yeah, but I agree. We should keep the party together probably. I'll follow to the engineering as well.
As a crew, then, let's restore this power together. I love it when we move as a group.
And Murph, I would think that you would probably have some type of a magnetized thing on your feet if you wanted to. I know you're just having some fun flying through the air here, being a little Murph missile. But if you wanted to, you could activate them.
I don't think that I'm disoriented actually by spinning like a sort of a satellite. So the arbitrary decision of what down is not very useful to me. Actually, zero gravity is probably a little easier for me to move around in. But as far as crewmates go, it's kind of a nightmare combat-wise and stuff. But until necessary, I actually prefer to go down the center of corridors, rotating.
Well, if you want to go to engineering, you have to go through the mess hall and through another little corridor, and you can either try one of the lifts or you can take basically the stairs, or it would be like it'd be like a Jeffrey's tube type, ladder situation. But you could absolutely get down there.
Well, protocol does require that you not use lifts in emergency situations. So I would like to defer the leadership if we're going to move. It seems like Horus and Thamus are sort of our heavy hitters, and me and Dakota seem to have established a certain context. So if they want to move down the stairs with mag boots, then we can find our way, and maybe I'll learn about the pleasures of looking at a human butt.
All right, Jake, does Dakota want to do anything, or is she just going to follow or lead the way in front of Murph?
I'll stick close to Murph.
Okay. Well, you guys go through this, and again, with the zero gravity, you kind of knock the tables and chairs and things away, and you do go down the corridor. You don't see anything of consequence other than as you're going through, you do see some kind of scorch marks on the right side of the corridor, 5 or 6 of them. Looks like these may have been made by some type of a weapon. There's some damage to the wall itself. But as you get down there, it opens up into what Murph you would know is the engine room. This is the beginning of engineering, and it's obvious to you, and as well, and also to Thamos, that there's really very little power going to this, and that the only thing you see is in the center part of this room, amongst just the different parts and wires and little machines that are floating, is this central panel that looks to have a little bit of power to it.
Thamus, you seem to know your way around computer systems. My luck has been 10% reduced of late, so why don't you give it a crack?
Thamos would walk up to this console, probably pulling off like a little chip thing from his vest that had Honey in and attach it to whatever console is here, asking Honey to run a diagnostic of both power levels to figure out what must be done to get power back up fully functioning.
Running diagnostics. Power system bypassed. Disconnected lower level B3. Unable to restore power at this time.
Honey, can you run a
Manual.
bypass?
Manual correction is the only option. Without power, nothing can be fixed from here.
Where must I go to manually fix the power?
Power system was bypassed from Lab 1A 7 months, 9 days ago by Professor Hillary Jane. You have 2 options. You can manually reconnect power coupling in area B3 or get Hillary Jane passcode to reinitiate power system.
Mr. Draconic, can you get me a reading on that location for manual coupling reassembly?
Honey, can you do that for Mr. Murph?
Location B3, engine room. Power coupling disengaged. Area irradiated. Unable to support life. Radiation level too high for Evo suits to go. Suggest alternate means.
Thamos would probably pull out the ID card that he had picked from the lab coat and see if he can manually look at it and kind of figure out if she might have put her password on her ID badge.
It's not the same. That is Dr. Rebecca Harris. So it's not going to be the same one. But in this area, it just looks like this is in shambles. It looks like as your eyes adjust to the darkness and everything, that it looks like this place was gutted. Like someone did it on purpose. I mean, some of the panels are destroyed. There's even damage to this panel. Looks like some things have been burned. Some things just ripped out, and there's wires on the floor. It seems very odd. It's not something that you would usually see on a station like this, especially one as new as this. But like I said, the section B3 is basically at the lowest level in the engine room. But that area seems to have the highest level of radiation.
Well, despite my incredible combat prowess demonstrated earlier, it seems that I'm suited to go down there and get roasted to reconnect the systems while you guys are no doubt attacked by sentient lemonade. Despite that fact, I'm willing to perform this duty with enthusiasm.
Sentient lemonade is awesome. I so should have named them that. And honestly, yeah, the only one who could go down there is Murph. And if you want to do that, Murph, we can probably go through that. That won't take too long, I think, depending on what you roll.
Okay, well, I imagine everyone being attacked while I'm down there. I have limited imagination functions, but that is what I'm going to imagine because it seems inevitable. But regardless, I'm going to go stick the peg in the hole.
All right.
I think
Are you guys-
before he does that, I'd probably do a perception of kind of the room itself and see if maybe there's any other mummified corpses or lab coats or anything that might possibly actually have any other information to help do this so that way we don't have to split up.
Yeah, you don't notice any other corpses or anything or any other ID cards. The only thing you see is just basically just a rundown kind of engineering room. Just looks like it was purposely somebody really tried to damage this area, but there's nothing really there that you can notice besides what you've already noticed.
Should we maybe consider, since we're undoubtedly splitting up anyway, and there's absolutely nothing we can do to assist Murph in the irradiated engine room, should we maybe consider going to the lab where the power was bypassed while Murph is down in the engine room?
If you guys would like to do that, you can certainly do that. All right. So I'm going to ask you guys, which would you like to handle first, going up to the labs or Murph going down to the engine room?
Well, which is closer? Is it closer for Murph to get down to the engine room? And
Yes, it's only like three levels down. The labs are going to be about 4 or 5 up above you guys.
so while we're doing our split screen tactical maneuvering upstairs and stuff and checking around corners,
Mhm.
Murph can head on down to engineering
Sure.
and the irradiated zone. If that's all right with you, Murph.
I look forward to nothing more.
So we will pan away from the three of you as you're sitting there looking at the panel and thinking about heading up to the science area. And Murph, you find that most of the stairs heading down are actually blocked, but the lift next door to the side of it, it actually looks like it's open, but there's no lift. It just looks like from what you can see, it looks like it's just a straight shot straight down, but it's completely black. There are no lights.
Not a problem, considering it's actually not straight down. It's straight that way. So I will float through the passage in the direction of the engine room.
And as you go down, it's just blackness floating until you hit the floor, and you do see a faint light. But the doors at the very bottom that would open this lift, as you look closer, it looks like some of it is actually welded, like kind of spot welded in 1 or 2 places shut. That it's very odd. Like somebody looks like they were trying to keep this door from being opened. And on the outside, or the inside, you can actually notice with your lens as this light kind of reflects just barely that there's kind of striations on the area that you're in, and it looks almost like they're claw marks.
And these are on my side of the entry, correct?
Right. There's a little bit of light coming through where they didn't weld, and you can barely make it out, but it looks like there's some type of striations on your side.
Well, I'll have to retract my thumb, so I'll just have the flipper. And the flipper goes in and then try to split the door open and crack those spot welds. Hopefully they were just MIG welding. There's no time for TIG in an emergency situation.
And I think you absolutely do that with a pop, pop, pop as you pop all 3 of them, and you put your other arm in there and you push them open. And there you see basically a wall that you know to be these kind of power couplings. They're kind of fuses that are required to be in place in order for the power to route properly to the engines and to the computer. And you can see that several of them have been pulled out and several of them have been ripped out. There looks to be 3 And you can actually, every once in a while, you hear a and you'll see a spark coming from the wiring that's been pulled out.
What a mess. Well, are enough of the couplings at least in the room to be replaced to get all the circuits back on, or do I have to make a choice about which systems to fire up?
You could probably kind of MacGyver one together. It's pretty obvious to you, being, you know, a maintenance guy and an engine guy, that one of these couplings controls the engine, the other one controls basically the onboard computer. So, and the third one, you believe, has something to do with navigation, but that's not your specialty. You know where the engine one is, and you know where the computer one is.
Well, considering we're on an investigative mission and we do have a computer specialist in the crew, I'd have to choose computer systems to be fired up, since the mag boots seem to be working and the Evo suits seem to be functioning. Let me see if I can jam the computer systems coupling back into its breaker spot there.
And when you go in there and you jam it in there, at first it doesn't do that, but it doesn't really seem to be working. But you also see some of the wires that have frayed out, and you push them back in. Even with that big arm, you know where these things need to go. And after a few minutes of rigging this, you do notice some of the lights in this room begin to kind of flicker on, and the shaft that you just came out of, a bright light kind of illuminates all that. And on the ground there are two more corpses in lab coats. There's nothing else in this room other than just couplings and wires and kind of metal and, you know, and grossness. And there's actually what you can probably figure to be what was used to bash this stuff, a large pipe, probably about 4 inches around in diameter and about 4 feet long. If you want, I know Murph is a utility guy. He could take that if he wanted to use as a weapon.
Very useful. I'll activate my aft magnet, stick it on the back of the torso there, and activate my team comm link. My comrades. Well, it's not really a term I normally use. I must be malfunctioning. I apologize for that. But it would seem that the ship was intentionally disabled by its own crew. And in fact, some of them had barricaded themselves into the engine room after attempting to damage it. All I can get back online is computer systems. So, Mr. Draconic, hopefully you can use your expertise to get us some more information on the anomaly and any other activity on the ship. Other than that, I will catch up with you to reconnoiter as soon as possible.
And as you guys hear that, you're going up through the decks just slowly with your magnetic boots, just and as you get this thing, you see the lights in your area flicker as well. You still don't have gravity, but you can at least see better now. The radiation alarms are still going off, and everything seems to illuminate just as you see. You see a little placard on the wall as you get to the lab level. Then it says Research Lab 1A. With that, we're going to take a 5-minute break for bios, guys. I was going to tell you that before you left, Josh, but
So Murph doesn't need a break then.
Man,
It's a
was
bio
crazy.
break.
nah.
Laugh it up, skin bag. Laugh it up.
By the way, because I wanted to do it, the little sentient lemonade were actually reskinned yellow ochres, or ochre jellies.
Oh, wow.
They're immune to slashing damage, and if you cut them in half, there's 2. So I thought that would be really cool. So that's what
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
were.
that was actually really cool.
So anyway,
that was the source of my puzzlement, because I was trying to balance what I suspected with my character.
right. All right, guys. I'll be back in 5.
Me too.
I'll just sit here hanging out with the chat. What's up, y'all? Any questions, comments about the game? But man, now I know what it feels like to be live with no one responding to anything. All right. What's up, man?
I live.
Man,
Dark
this has
on
been
Josh.
crazy.
Anyway,
So I cracked open the one of those crates with rations in it, and I found these compressed food products. I just found these in my cupboard, and I have no idea why in the world there are marshmallows that are this big.
because that's amazing.
Plus, those are the ones for marshmallow launchers.
Or a really big s'more, and then Jake eats them.
I mean, literally, this is literally like a 3-bite marshmallow.
That's really good for your diet, Jake.
I'm not on a diet.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
How
Yeah, I
old
know.
is that marshmallow?
it doesn't matter. It's delicious, I'm sure. So, I had a question, guys. So I've never done like the whole, AI thing, with the voice. How's that working out for everybody?
Reminded me of Halo.
Honey is super sexy.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
I
I've
would never have thought you could make yourself sound like a woman, Drake.
You know how long it took me on Reaper to get that to work properly, dude? I checked like all 800 settings before, and I had to put 8 effects together to make that. But anyway,
That sounds about right.
It's funny because it's very similar to in the other 5e group I'm playing in. We have like a sort of a drow female warrior NPC that my DM kind of brings in now and again. And even though she's super useful, totally awesome, we all just give her endless amounts of shit because she happens to be an NPC. And I feel like the same thing is going to wind up happening with Honey.
absolutely. But yeah, no, you guys, it's a lot of fun. I'm trying. We're gonna have some more opportunities to test some of the stuff. But most of you guys know me. The story trumps everything else. So, anywho, if we're all back, you're still nervous, Josh? Come on now. You should be.
You know what happens.
Great, man.
No, dude, you've seen my games. You have every reason to be nervous.
That is also true. I binge watched all of your Dragon Grin Chronicles in probably about 18 hours straight.
Well, that's insane. We got another one coming up on April 6th
Sunday.
next week that you are going to love, because they're going to have some fun. But anyway, getting back if everybody's ready. So we find, Murph is going to be making his way back up. But Murph, as you do though, you do notice on the wall that there are what looks like claw marks, as I said, but these things are deep into the metal. They're a solid 3/4 of an inch deep, and there's 3. And they're everywhere. in that kind of hole where those doors open, like the whole shaft is kind of covered in these scratches. It looks like whatever made these, or whoever made these, was in there for quite a while. Just something that you can convey if you'd like.
I'll keep that to myself, considering its disturbing nature.
Okay, and you guys go into the lab area, into lab 1A, and as you go in, again, same thing, except with the gravity, and there's books, and there's test tubes, and your typical research lab type thing, microscopes all kind of there, but there is one panel that looks like it's actually getting power, and it looks like you may actually have access to it, to the computer system, if you wanted to utilize honey, famous. But there's really nothing in here. There's a few empty cages, maybe like a container that has that kind of clear fluid and it's bubbling, but there's nothing in it.
Yeah, I most certainly would try to use it, connecting Honey to it, running her, making sure she does a diagnostic again, seeing as now we have power to see if anything changed as far as life support or any of that stuff.
Running diagnostics. Computer system power engaged. Engine offline. Navigation offline. Life support offline. Computer system shows gravity can be restored. Do you wish gravity to be turned on inside Terran Station Run 9?
Yes, please, Honey. You know we always like it grounded.
Gravity restored.
And as you hear that, everything just goes crashing down. And Murph, you probably wouldn't know that this is coming because you're not standing there with them. But everything where you guys are, you hear splashing, you hear crashing. I mean, picture an entire station that had no gravity for months, just everything crashing down at one time. It's just this kind of cacophony of sound.
I think I probably just fell down the elevator shaft.
Sorry. That's just really funny to me. I'm sure you could find your way back up, maybe a little worse for wear, but I'm sure you'd be fine.
Thank you.
I kind of assumed that you would, it took him a few minutes to get in there, so I kind of assumed you were on the next level before you got to that, but whatever. What else would you guys like to figure out in the computer?
I definitely checked to see if there was any logs, like video logs or audio logs from the crew, probably stating as to why they jimmy-rigged everything and scorched everything, trying to hide what they were hiding from, things of that sort.
Searching for audio or video logs. Database has been erased. Only 6 logs remain, all attached to Lab 2B. They are not completely intact. Audio quality is poor. Would you like me to play them?
Yes, please, Honey.
Processing.
Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay. And the first log that you find sounds like this. Oops. Sorry. Here we go. Day 7. Biological test inconclusive. No recognizable DNA patterns found. Specimen appears to be in some form of hibernation state. I'll remove the sedation tomorrow. Engage the response. Did you guys hear that one? Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life form. Like, honey, do you know what they were researching here? In any records?
The records contained in the database do not specify specimen or creature involved in research project. There are, however, 5 more stored logs. But again, audio quality is poor.
Can I do I'm pretty much gonna Jimmy rig it, trying to possibly clear audio, so that way it kind of clears up some of it, so that way it makes it a little bit easier to understand.
You can absolutely try, but these things, for some reason, are extremely degraded. But I will play the next one for you if you guys would like. Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. One moment. Sorry, just takes a moment to set. After each one is played, I'll give you guys a second to talk about it. Okay. Here's the second one. Game 9. After 2 days without sedation, subjects 1 and 2 are both much more aware. There's been a dynamic response to the introduction of red astra to the containment field. Okay, guys.
I imagine we just want to keep playing these so we can hear all these logs.
Okay, no problem. I'll just play one after another. You guys tell me when to stop, okay? And I apologize. It just takes me a second to get each of them loaded.
Are these playing over the Evo comm link as well?
Yes, you'll be able to hear these. Absolutely. Give me just one moment here.
Terrifying.
Just wait. That's only 2. All right. Here comes the next one. Day 10. Continued absorption of red astra has caused subject 1 to grow by almost 30%. It has also become much more aggressive towards subject 2. Separation is required for safety. Irradiation protocols have been initiated. All right, bringing in number 4.
Was it 6 total?
Yes, it was 6 total. And I can give you kind of a synopsis if they're purposely supposed to be hard to understand. Josh. Okay, here comes the next one. Day 12. Subject 1 has somehow broken through the inner containment field and seems to have absorbed most of subject 2. His red astra absorption and exponential growth continues. Additional power has been added to the field to assure containment. Okay. Coming. And then one final one after this, gentlemen. Day 13. Subject 1 is missing. Several crew members are also unaccounted for. Strange power fluctuations continue aboard the station. Technicians are working on the problem, but the dark matter fusion core is offline. And the final log. This one is a little bit longer. Bear with me here. Just about that. Sorry, this is about, I'd say, from the cargo hold, I'd say probably an hour. And here's the final one, guys. Day 15. They're all gone. Everyone. It's in a computer. We never expected its intelligence to grow as well. The only thing that seems to affect this thing is the dark matter radiation. We don't have much power left. Only enough for one short burst. It might get us out of orbit. It might get us out of the system. But we have to try something. I don't know what to do. By myself, I can't destroy the station. We can't let it get to Bastion. If anyone finds this, destroy Ronin 9, please. I am so sorry. We just didn't know. And those are all that you could find.
Well, that just gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Oh, sorry. What was that, Horace?
What the hell were they doing here?
What did he mean by 109? What is 109?
I think I read Ronin 9 on that statement. But we need an immediate readout on movement on the station, considering the new evidence that's been brought to light.
Honey, seeing as you're linked to the primary system, can you do an overscan of the entire ship for anything living?
The radiation is still blocking my scanners. Strange. It appears that the dark matter core radiation has been vented manually through the living areas of the station. That is not procedurally correct. Do you wish me to close the exhaust vents to the dark matter core? It will alleviate radiation concentrations throughout the ship.
Oh no, Dakota, what do you think? Do you think we should do that?
If you close these vents, honey, how quickly can you reopen them should we want to do that?
Redirecting core radiation would take approximately 24 hours to override the system and make the system unsafe again. Closing them and venting radiation would take approximately 20 minutes.
I don't know. I'm reluctant to take away this radiation given what was said on these tapes. But at the same time, this may limit our ability to maneuver through this station.
What if it's the black matter that killed everybody else? I mean, we don't want to end up being consumed by whatever this black matter is.
Dark
There is
matter.
some evidence that has not been brought to light yet, which I discovered in the engine room. An extensive set of claw marks beyond the normal capabilities of a biological life form, something able to gouge solid metal. But these are mere scientists. Our group is highly skilled, and the toleration of evil in our system is not inside my programming. Therefore, I think our only choice is to cut the venting of the dark matter, release the containment measures that were taken by the ill-fated scientists, and confront the life form or form and expunge this problem rather than fleeing from it. Unless, of course, my crewmates are no longer curious. Then by all means, let's blow the station and leave.
I got to say, Murph, I did not expect to use your expertise of HVAC systems to come in handy in the eradication of evil entities. You continue to surprise me. I got to say, I agree with you there, Murph. Thamos, Horace.
But we're just salvage. I mean, yeah, we're good with a blade and our guns, but what if that's not good enough? What if we too fall just like the scientists who were here? I must bring you back to your father.
He means your body.
Thamos, I'll go back to my father when I'm good and ready. And I'm not ready yet. If there's something on this station that's interfering with our ability to do our job, we need to take it out. Then we can salvage whatever we can get off of this crusty piece of tin and either let it float off into the void or we can blow it afterwards. Then we can talk about my father.
Are there
Yes,
any
my
other
lady.
systems you wish to run diagnostics on?
Horace, do you think you can do whatever that was that you did before once again? Because I have a feeling you're the tip of the spear when whatever that is comes out of whatever this is.
I can do my best. It sounds like this creature, whatever it is, if that word even works for whatever it is, it sounds like it's been blasted full of astra itself, so I don't know how effective I'll be against it given that. I'm certainly interested in seeing it. If we can figure out what the heck these people have been doing, maybe we can try to reverse engineer it. Honey, are there any strange Astra readings in the area? Anything that might have pointed to where they were running these experiments?
There is a high concentration of red astra in labs 1A and 1B. Residual astra signatures prevalent in all research labs. Highest concentrations in 1A and 1B.
Dakota, if this is what you wish, I will have her do this. But please be cautious. We have plenty of things that we must do.
Pulling out her handgun and just pulling the slide back to check the ammo, she just says, I'm always cautious.
Me too. And in the spirit of caution, I recommend we face this thing one eye to one eye. Unless it has multiplies. In that case, the metaphor will not serve. Other than that, I feel confident in our chances, considering I have no information.
Honey, please vent out the black matter.
Rerouting, dark matter for radiation ventilation. Venting, radiation. Please allow 10 minutes for habitable environment.
And as this happens, guys, you can hear some like mechanical sounds of doors closing, just kind of thunking on the side, and the sounds kind of like reverberate throughout the station, and you can hear the as you can see things. Once the gravity and stuff has been restored, you can see that anything that's light, kind of the particles and the dust that's in there is actually moving. Sorry about that if there's some audio static. Nothing I can do, Jeff. Excuse me. And you can notice just on your suits, it's going to register the radiation levels, and you can see it steadily dropping. But as she said, it's going to take about 20 minutes. And you guys are still in that first thing. What would you guys like to do?
Looking for anything that's not nailed down.
There's really, like I said, there's pages and pages of journals and books and test tubes and microscopes and stuff. I mean, everything's pretty much crashed on the floor now. There's really nothing of consequence in this particular one. But as I said, there are multiple areas that have labs.
If things aren't nailed down, can I grab a work table and fashion a sort of a crap barricade that my crewmates could use whenever it arrives, if arriving is one of its behaviors?
I will allow you to fashion one of the tables into a shield that you can hold with your non-big arm. And then you hold that, and then you can do whatever you want with your big arm. I'll allow that.
Would you say we would have about an hour? I would like to use some of the gold that I do have and craft one of my spheroid sentries, but it takes about an hour or so.
Okay. I'm going to just check some.
Miss Raven, I believe the vernacular is lock and fucking load. Baby cakes. Was that appropriate?
I'm always locked and loaded, Murph. And don't call me baby cakes.
Would you?
It was a
Would
pretty
you
good
prefer
impression of
buffalo?
you, to be fair.
What's that?
That it was a pretty good impression of you, to be fair.
If you're talking, we can't hear you, Drake. Whatever you did, you overcorrected.
There's so little static, there's no sound.
Dakota
Sounds like we beat the game.
Dakota sticks her finger in her ear, and that voice I was hearing seems to have gone away.
Yeah, it sounds like Honey's offline. Finally.
Honey.
Honey.
How dare
Amos,
you
use
talk
that
about
very
my
light
honey
voice
like that?
of yours. Get Honey back online.
All right, well, I'm going to start gathering up any of these microscopes that look like they're useful. Anything that's not broken, looks like it might be valuable. We'll move it over near the side. Yeah, we'll stick whatever will magnetically attach to Murph. Is there more room on your aft magnet?
There is always room on my aft magnet. I'm polymagnetic.
We'll let you know when we can hear you, Drake. I see your lips moving, but I don't hear anything. Like we said, this whatever this dark matter is, this black matter is, it's pretty potent. It's affecting the real world.
It's anti-DM energy. Jeff, you got to be ready to go straight nuclear on it here.
You might have to go into the Hangout settings and transfer the audio from your computer to your headphones. That's what I had to do to mine.
So, Jeff, do you have to chain your stuff together to sort of stay agitated like a barbarian with rage, or is it on call?
Oh, the magic is just on call. I can use it whenever I want, but basically every time I use it, it gives me more points of Astra Fade. So eventually, once I cast a certain amount of spells, it's going to start hitting me with some side effects.
And does I didn't catch it, but does DM roll the fade effects, or do you?
I roll them.
That's better. That way you get to shiver more.
I've honestly been waiting for that to happen, is to actually have to roll on the Astra Effects table.
Oh, we'll get there.
The Astra Effects table, man, I was looking over those earlier, and more for the Mancers. Those are insane that you can exceed your Astra Fade by that much. And those are some. I noticed that the cool thing that they did with the Astra Fade tables is that it looks like they go up by a single die for every tier. So
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
more options for Astra blowback.
Yeah, the first tier above your level is just a d6 with some minor effects. Maybe you take a d4 of damage, maybe you heal a d4, or maybe nothing happens. But then it's like each level you have a longer list of effects, and they get more severe, either more beneficial or more harmful each next layer down. And eventually you get to the point, like the last layer, it's like either you like gain resistance to all damage, heal like 3d6, or immediately die.
Yeah, there's some pretty intense options there.
Yeah, or some of them are literally like lose a point of strength. This is permanent.
Now remind me, does it take a long rest to reduce your Astra Fade?
You get, I might get some as a
it's
master. I think
either-
you get some as a short rest, but long rest will get you all the way down.
Yeah, I think it's like you reduce it by half with it needing to be at least one
Okay.
on a short rest, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure when or where they sort of derived it, but the math is very reminiscent of the DCC Spellburn system. It works on the same sort of ascending crazy, so it like wobbles. So it wobbles small, and then it wobbles bigger and bigger in both directions. So like, I love the one where you go invisible and stuff. Like, that's so cool. It's very DCC.
Drake, you should be able to cut right out of the hangout without killing it. I've had to reboot during a game before, or been kicked out, and there he goes.
Oh, there you go.
I think he was worried that he was going to end.
I have the whole thing shut down. Yeah, I posted the section in the rules with the Astra rest in the chat.
Yeah, I just want to get you on lead.
But that's specifically as a Mancer. Otherwise, there's different effects. I have class abilities that give me those specific rules.
Yeah, as a treader and a reaver. As a reaver, I get one weapon that basically is a +1, which is my scimitar. So with all my bonuses and everything, I've got a +7 to attack. And then I can
you guys
use
hear
that. What's that?
Hey!
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Hey.
There we are.
There we go.
I apologize, guys. That completely killed the immersion. I apologize. I don't know
We
what
just went into a mechanics discussion.
Well, that's good. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
I'm no longer running the hangout, but whatever. Like I don't have any of the stuff that did it, but you know what? It'll work.
Do you have the ability to turn it off from being live?
I'm sure I'll find out when everyone leaves. So we'll be fine. But anyway, where were we, guys?
We were essentially taking a long rest, I believe, not a long rest, a short rest while Thamos was constructing some gizmo.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna do a spheroid sentry.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had just shut down the dark matter radiation, and we're kind of cleaning out to a safer environment.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think Dakota was sticking all manner of scientific equipment to my magnetized outer shell in some bizarre attempts to turn me into a living barricade. And living is used in quotes here.
anything that looked like it was valuable
Oh,
and
okay.
magnetic.
So you're basically covered in scrap at this point. Science scrap.
Science
And-
scrap. This is high grade scrap.
Because so you're pretty well covered, would you say?
Yeah, really, even seeing what's about to unfold is optional. So if you wanted to put a mess plate over my lens for protection, that would be acceptable.
Well, let's add one to your AC for all the extra stuff that you have on there. Just because you never know, that microscope could deflect something. You just never know. So you guys go through, like I said, and you rest. And by the time the hour is up, an hour or whatever, the radiation is gone. They've actually been able to make the area and the air even breathable. So if you guys wanted to take off your helmets, you could in this area right now, but that's up to you. But yeah, you are finished your short rest. You are in the first lab 1A. What would you guys like to do?
Move on to another lab.
Okay. The next one is going to be 1B. You guys go in there, and this one is a little bit more disheveled looking. And as you first walk in, there's kind of a half wall right in front. And Murph, you'd recognize that there's those 3 claw marks right there, very similar to what you saw down in the elevator shaft, except these are a little bit smaller than what you have. And the only other odd thing you see is that you have another of these mummified, frozen corpses there. But the odd thing about this one is it looks like her throat was literally torn out. There's just a big, big hole where her kind of from her chin down to like her sternum. There's just a giant hole there. And you can see the remnants of blood and, stuff like that. But at this point, she hasn't thawed completely yet. But in this room is very similar to what you saw in the other room with the test tubes and the microscopes and things like that. Tables, chairs, books, journals, your typical thing. But there's one thing flickering on the computer screen. And I'm going to pull it up for you guys, and I'm going to screen share. And it pops up and then it goes off, and pops up and goes off. That kind of weird